So I'm cutting the hole into the lid of the rain barrel to fit in the stilling well, which will fit in like this. Or to visualize, the lip will hold the barrel, and this whole bucket with this bottom empty will sit there, and the water will be pumped up and it'll fall down, allowing the solids to settle near the bottom of the barrel. So in order to do that, I'm making some measurements to make sure that this will fit, because if I center it up, it's a pretty tight fit, and the bucket tapers up slightly upwards. So I'm gonna measure the circumference of it and do some math to make sure I get the right radius measurement for around here, about an inch down from the top, that it sits down. And I'm gonna have to cut it on both ends because it's not a level surface, but let's see how it goes. So the diameter of the lid is exactly 23 inches, so its halfway point is 11.5 inches right here. And taking a measurement of the bucket, show you the inches. It's at 35 inches. 35 inches. So the measured radius of the bucket was 35 inches. So to find the radius, divided by 2 pi, and we get 5.57 inches as our radius. Alright, so we know that the radius of the bucket, or the hole needed to create the bucket, or the hole for the bucket, is 5.57 inches. If you take a look, if I center it at the center point, it hits the outer edge of the threaded hole used to seal up the bucket. And while I won't use it, I have a feeling it'll be extremely hard to cut through it. So I'm actually considering to place the bucket on either the left or the right side, which may slightly affect the stilling well performance, either on this side, on this side where the cut might be easier to make, like this, or make it not exactly centered. And one benefit actually is the outlet pipe could be farther away from the stilling well, therefore reducing the amount of particles going through it, or creating more distance between where the particles enter and come in. Still, I don't think it's ideal. I'd rather it be in the center, but I don't want to risk messing up this aspect of it. Another thing I could do is I have a piece of twin wall polycarbonate roofing that I could also use to make a lid, and then just put this straight down. But I think I'd rather use this, but I'll think about it. So I've marked this piece of string at 2 parts, right here and right here. Don't know if you can see it, but the distance between these 2 dots is exactly 5.57 inches. And I've offset this from the center just a slight bit. So as you can see, as I bring this around, it doesn't hit this piece. It doesn't hit either of them. So I'm thinking of making this hole right here. So I've just cut the hole for the steering wheel with my jigsaw, and I'll deburr the edges in a second, but I'm going to test this out. Putting the steering wheel in, and it fits perfectly. There's a bit of a gap right here, but besides that, there's some minor gaps, but it fits pretty snug. It doesn't move around that much. And eventually, I will cut through there, and this will become the perfect steering wheel. Right. So my plan for the media bed is for the inflow to be gravity fed, and for that to happen, the media bed has to be above the tank. So I've placed some cinder blocks down. I'm gonna get more to make a more stable base, but I plan on raising the sump tank and the media bed, and to do that I'm going to cut the barrel at this line. As you can see, it aligns perfectly, so I can do that. I can flip this half of the barrel, flip it over and support it via this part and the cut portion right here, and then the water can rush in. So now that I've cut the barrel in half and flipped the top half over, I originally planned on doing this by supporting the chopped barrel, and then using this 2-inch threaded piece and putting it in the hole in the barrel below and just draining the water out. Not sure if you can see that. Like this, and it just drains out. When I made the design, I had some concerns over the inflow and the outflow rate, because obviously if I'm not pumping in water at this same rate as it's exiting, either it'll exit too fast and this won't fill up high enough, or it'll overflow and it won't come out, and the exit rate is going to be too low. I thought about doing some math. If I can find that piece where I put it. I thought about measuring the flow rate by filling this entire thing up full, and I have this ball valve, and I could measure how long it takes to take out 5 gallons in a certain period of time. I thought about that, but now that I think about it, I could also, instead of putting this here, which would make it hard for me to open the lid on one side, or not even open the lid on one side, I could place the chalk piece on top. plug this hole, plug one of the holes, and then place my sump pump in here. Basically create a standpipe, and then bring probably 3/4 tubing up, wrap over, and let it fill the tank, or maybe this orientation, like this. And then I would use one of my uni seals at the top as just an outflow. And if I have the right flow into the media bed, this should not be, I think 1.5 inches should be enough, to be honest. It should be enough. And this will just flow out as like a waterfall, or I can plumb up like an overflow, or I could use a reducer like this, and it'll come down further. Or use a 90 uni seal, bring out a little bit of pipe, and then use a 90 and bring it down. I've thought about that, but I also want enough oxygenation when it comes down, and enough water pushing this way that it goes into the slow. Obviously the slow will have some gravity feeding action where it'll suck things up, but I'm gonna consider two of these choices, either flowing down this way or flowing out top right here.